Hello, our dear friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
So, guys, we want to talk a little bit more about what the Arcturians were sharing with us. And they came through somewhere around 3 a.m. to like 4:30. We were getting some information. Again, when this stuff comes through, it's just a case of we're in bed and we're probably asleep, and Cindy is out of her body, and somebody else hops in her body. Now, she does have a guard that guards her body, and again, nobody of a lower frequency can get in, as we are protected by many very, very beautiful and powerful benevolent beings. So we shared this message from the Arcturians about soul growth and manifestation, and I just felt like, gosh, there was so much in there to get across. So we're going to kind of go a little bit deeper into it here over on Heart's Home, and get into a little bit more about what we are, because what we think we are and what we are is not the same. It really isn't. Even with those that are maybe have the most developed perception, it's just an impossibility to understand just how vast and complex and the intricacies with having to use a human brain. That's the brain is the limiting factor here. Being embodied definitely intentionally cuts us off from certain aspects of knowledge.
I don't know if you've ever tried to memorize something or learn something and just get it into your soul, but if you write it down and you cover it up and you're trying to memorize something, even if you get a guess at it, sometimes that helps you add more information into your life. In so many ways, we are cut off from higher self, just to kind of force us to give that little stab in the dark, to get us to expand some.
Oh, it is all about expansion. It's all about expansion and all about growth. And my hope is that this is going to give some big ahas to people out there. As I think at some time or other, most of us have listened to some spiritual teachers of sorts, but listening to a being that can touch between the seventh density and the third density, and listening to them explaining, albeit through Cindy, who is embodied here alongside us in this density, it can be just very, very enlightening, I think. I think it could really give us that aha as to why would you choose to come here at this time of all times, right? Well, the higher self knows. But see, the thing is, we don't really know our higher self, even though we are part of our higher self.
Mm-hmm. But we do strive to be in alignment with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we want to do is I'm going to play it's about 3 or 4 minutes. And this is the Arcturians speaking through Cindy. Cindy's off somewhere else in a different universe. She just goes to a different place, and then when they leave, she'll pop back in and she'll be like, ooh, because usually it's a little bit painful. It's a little bit tough. It is tough.
It definitely has its wear on the body when you're doing this kind of channeling, and some people are made for it and some people are not, but it's something that if you can and you have the calling to bring this information for people who do want to understand, then caution should be taken while you do it. And just a little bit of background, I've been this way all my life. I've always had things coming through me when I was asleep, and my children usually were the ones waking me up time after time after time, because I'm just talking. And when Mike and I fell together, that is when the calling started. And that's when, okay, now there's somebody who has a voice and it needs to be heard. And that falls in alignment with a calling. And when do you use your abilities? And, I'm kind of sort of tinkering around with maybe writing a book about how to channel, because so many people can do it, but very different ways. And we should use these abilities, or at least know how to take care of ourselves and know what's going on, because that's nothing that's covered in school ever.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's more of an automatic writing is typically probably going to be my most productive way of doing it. And I've had times in the past where I would sit down and all of a sudden stuff just flies out. And, it's been a long time, and I've even been encouraged to do that, and I still haven't gotten around to it. And even with, basically us being able to just focus on the spiritual side of things, given these videos, working on clients and helping clients with soul growth and ascension issues and energy work and the like, I still haven't found the time. And, it's sad, but we will.
But this is a really good example to talk about what is a calling. And when life arranges itself so that, yes, you are sitting down and you are channeling this book, that's a calling. That's like when you can no longer avoid it. There's something inside of you that needs to express itself. But when? And that's when you get called to do it, and you always know. And you either listen or it's going to keep calling, It's not like the calling stops.
No, and I also know that time for me personally is when we transition to that next stage, because there's going to become a time when we won't be able to communicate with you guys every day. That's coming, and that's when I'm going to be putting things into books, and there's a ton of books in there. There's so many books, dozens probably. I don't think the books will ever stop until the body is no more. And yeah, again, it's all about the timing. So let us share this with you. Let your soul stand cool and composed before a million universes. That's Walt Whitman. Absolutely. And in some ways, you are probably more than likely transversing maybe even more than one universe. Whoa. What are you talking about? Yeah. I mean, not even just thinking in terms of, gosh, do I have more than one life going on? What does that look like? Well, maybe more than one life going on in different planets, different star systems, and even beyond that. And that's kind of mind-blowing. But again, we're not supposed to know those answers here, so that this experience has the entirety of our focus. Doesn't mean that you can't have a quest for knowledge, though.
Indeed.
Yes. Or wisdom, or that seeking. I mean, there's a reason why I chose to jump in and have Jupiter and Rahu together where they are. And that gives me an insatiable quest to know everything through direct experience. So, without further ado, I give you the Arcturians.
That was perhaps just...
Let me see. Hang on one second, guys. I'm sorry. It disconnected itself. And, it was weird because Bluetooth was disconnected, but we know we are totally hacked. We've been totally hacked for a long time. And so they're openly playing with our settings on things and turning things off on us on a regular basis. It's I think just fun and games to them right now. Okay, I think we should be good to go. So let's see if we could bring this back now. And now I lost my time period. Oh boy. Here we go. Let's see, over here. I gotta get the right timestamp. Sorry guys, totally.
Will you figure that out? Take it off Bluetooth. But this is information that's come to me and has probably come through many different times, cycles upon cycles upon cycles, and now is the time it's supposed to be shared for people who are wanting to know, because the light of information is on its way. We're moving into that. We're moving into a photon belt.
Oh yeah, since the 80s.
Yes, and that's going to bring us more and more information. So more information is going to be coming through. people like me and other channels that have chosen to do this. And like I said, it can be difficult on the body, but there's things you can do to help negate that.
Okay, so here we go. And my question was to them, I know about my last incarnation, and that might not be the proper term. I know of a latest incarnation, because I have the feeling that there might have been a concurrent incarnation going along with this one, which I know a few facts about. I know some things that had to have happened that I have no explanation for, other than the fact that I was incarnated in two places at one time as two different people. And so that is kind of mind-blowing, and I'll share more as I learn more about that. But I do know one incarnation. I know all the details of, including, where and when I was born, where and when I died, what the life was all about, family, kids, everything. And so it was a very different life than this. And so that's what I was saying to the Arcturian, saying that life appeared to be one of more kind of pure pleasure, kind of a break, and kind of, doing just whatever the higher self soul would really want to do, where this one was very, very purposeful and had a much higher, well, that one, I actually probably did touch more lives than I'm touching now. At the same time, this was the one that I was maybe taking a break in, that one, to sort of enjoy myself and then go, okay, now to work.
And that was perhaps just a more pleasurable exploration of my higher self, as opposed to this life. But still, even in a life like that, there still is expansion to be gained. Is there not?
Oh, definitely, but it can only be explained to you in a linear fashion, as you are having a linear experience. This is why it is difficult for humans to understand how they can have overlapping lives. It is very obvious once you reach a certain density how the lives can overlap, and how higher self can relay its information in many different ways, not just one. But this is an experience for you to enjoy and embrace. Not everything is meant to be understood in this density. There is a certain amount of struggle to find understanding, but that's how you expand. If we were to tell you all the nuances of everything in existence, you would not find that ability to expand. Why would you want to expand? You would already know everything.
Very true. It is truly all about the ride, so to speak, and not the destination.
It is, and the emotions and the experiences are all very valid because they add to your energy field. Many beings with so much trauma do take a very long time to unpack and understand and look at these situations in their life and make sense of them and find out where did they come from. All of these moments are a blessing from Source to help you have your own individual experience and feel the love of Source and experience expansion.
Thank you for explaining that. I would venture to guess that our higher selves, perhaps right now, my higher self has other versions out exploring this planet and maybe others as well.
It is very possible that different versions of yourself are out making progress. We would call this a soul stream, but you are still so very individual and very different. There is, once you part from Source, there is no coming together and losing any part of you. Each part of you is very individual and very unique, that will eventually come home to a higher understanding in it, understand its purpose, understand its being, and most of all, understand the need to be separated from itself.
Well, that is beautiful.
We should release this channel.
So that was what we wanted to get across again. That whole idea that, we are individual units of consciousness. We're much bigger than we think. Cindy gave 2 great examples, bringing up an iceberg. And again, instead of this being the individual incarnation, we should maybe either make this 10 or 100 times smaller, or this 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 times bigger in the big scheme of things. And then the fork, as being the higher self, so to speak, branching off into different souls, different soul incarnations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this includes being pets too, pets being able to be part of your soul stream. So, you look at the fork is probably one of my favorite examples. Is you see the stem of the fork, but then everything branches off to have its own unique experience and having its own unique purpose.
Go and please elaborate on the pets, because we've actually gotten that, what we might view as a human soul per se can send a portion of itself out to incarnate as a pet with a beloved family member in the next incarnation. Not the entirety, but a portion of it can come back as a pet.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is all about your personal experience and growth. And if there is a certain entity that is supposed to come into your life at a time, this being can do so through that soul stream. And then there's also, when it comes to pets, they really truly are so much like our angels, because they probably, if you've ever rescued a pet, I guarantee you that pet probably more likely rescued you. And that has a great deal of purpose. And, what does pull you to a rescue? What does pull you to a pet? Why do you pick the certain pets that you do? And there are those pets that you have a stronger bond with than others. I mean, some people really, they're like their children, they're absolute children, and there is such a strong love there. And these beings can come from a separate source, or you can have them come through your very own soul stream.
Absolutely. So again, if we think that any animal is less than or inferior in any way, or doesn't have certain aspects of consciousness, that's just incorrect, and it's not understanding how the universe truly works.
No, and again, like it was mentioned in that video, we're not supposed to understand exactly how everything works. If we did have the answers to the whole test, why go and even take the test if you can just look and see the answers?
Yeah, and so, this little chart is, very rudimentary, but can give you a little bit of a conceptualization, and I still don't even feel it really gets it accurately.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is good. We need visualizations as humans in these human bodies. Visualizations help us understand the rest of the story, because when we're dealing with information like this that is channeled, I'm very limited with vocabulary words and the ability to articulate what I'm being shown, what I feel, the information. So it is. I mean, pictures are valuable. They can really help hit home other information that you might not be able to get out with your vocabulary words.
Absolutely. So I hope this you guys found interesting. Please do share your comments and your questions. Greatly appreciated. And we'll keep delving in deeper and deeper into these mysteries. And again, the reason so many things are mysteries, well, it's twofold. Absolutely. The dark control system doesn't want you understanding the bigger picture. Then there's an aspect of yourself that doesn't want you understanding the bigger picture too. Now, there are very, very different reasons, behind both of those aforementioned beings or groups of beings having their agendas. Of course, the agenda of the higher self is always about growth and expansion. And they use that term expansion. I'm constantly hearing expansion as opposed to growth. They're talking about consciousness expanding, the soul's expansion. Think about that. Because again, it all goes back to the fact that we are all universes. Every single being is a universe in and of themselves. And we are all creator gods in training. So, we have a lot of learning to do. So we have to go through all these different experiences. After all, we have all eternity to do it.
Learning and listening, two very important things to do in life.
Absolutely. Much love. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.